Hello and welcome to the 31st episode of the Realist Podcast, a podcast about our real list. I'm your host, Ellis.
And I'm your host, Gloria.
And today we have a selection from...
Me. This is Pulp Fiction. Came out in 1994, directed by Quentin Tarantino, written by Tarantino, story by Tarantino, and Roger Avery.
He's done something I feel like we've seen his name before. I don't know what, though.
Produced by Lawrence Bender, starring John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman, Harvey... I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Keitel?
Tim Roth, Amanda Plumer.
Plumer? Yeah, no, she's not a Mario brother.
It looks like Plumber. Shut up.
Plumber has a B in it.
Plumber?
Plumber. Yeah. It's Plumber. As in plumb the depths?
We're not getting into this. This is not about plumbing. This is about Pulp Fiction.
We just read a whole section on how this movie revolves around being on the toilet.
I mean, yes, we did. We did. Tim Roth. I already said that. Maria.
Medeiros.
Ving Rhames, Eric Stoltz, Rosanna
Arquette. Christopher
Walken, and Bruce Willis.
That's a lot of names.
It is a lot of names.
There's a lot of stars in this movie.
There is.
The crazy thing about it is the fact that this movie, propelled all these people, but they weren't unknowns before it.
No.
It just, gave everyone a boost.
Yeah.
Because this movie was so big and so famous, and it made...
Oh, yeah. Miramax Films is a big producing company, so, I mean...
Now.
Well, now, yes, but...
It made $200 million in profit.
Yeah.
Profit, above the budget.
Yeah.
Insane.
This movie is also out of order. You noticed that as soon as we watched this movie.
Oh, yeah.
This movie is definitely out of order. So this movie, they never really just chose a certain, era for this movie.
Specified... It's 80s-ish.
80s-ish, yeah. It's when...
80s or 90s.
Heroin and cocaine was at its peak.
Depends where you are.
Yes.
I think it was set, sort of in its own present,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think the setting really matters too much, because it's not like a what's the word? Oh, God damn it! The word is escaping me. Like a movie that's just set in a certain time. It's not designed to date itself. It just is what it is. It's sort of like The Departed in a way, where it's it never states when exactly it's being made, but when it's set. But that's because it's set when it's being made.
You get a general idea of what time period this movie is in. So basically, this movie is a unchronological ordered mess.
Yeah. Well, it's also 3 movies. And I said that as a joke when we finished this movie, but it is actually 3 distinct stories, which is as it's designed.
But they actually all coincide together, which is great.
Yeah.
So, you first open scene, it's Jules and...
Hold on, there's a list here. It's the diner.
Oh, yeah,
the first open scene.
So it's the diner, so you don't necessarily know what's going on. You see these 2 people sitting at a booth. When you get to the opening scene, you're like, oh, these are main characters? Are these, the people we need to focus on?
I was like, where did they go? For the rest of the movie. For the following 2 hours, or, an hour and 50 minutes, I was going, so what about the guys in the diner? What
about
when are we going to see them again?
What about the couple in the diner?
It had already occurred to me that, okay, we're seeing this movie out of order, and we're seeing multiple stories here, but what about those guys? Are we going to get back there? And then they go into the diner at the end, and I'm like, oh, okay, the diner! I'd almost forgotten about the diner. The connection
has been made. And then they're sitting there, and they're talking about robbing a bank. And the guy, Ringo, was like, or Pumpkin, whatever. They never say his real name, but whatever they wanted to call him, Pumpkin, was like, oh, there's a guy who robbed a bank with only just a phone call.
Yep.
Cleaned out the entire bank. And then his girlfriend was like, "Oh, what about robbing a restaurant?" Like,
Did she come up with that?
no, I think he did.
Yeah, because he did like all the talking in that
He
scene.
he did all the talking, and then he pulls a gun out, which I didn't expect. But then they hold up the restaurant, and then it cuts to Vincent and Jules going to Brett's apartment.
And going and doing like the most iconic scene of the movie, which is
what again?
Yeah, what does Marsellus Wallace look like? Which
what does Marsellus
sort of
Wallace
like
look like?
Sort of like in last week's movie, I was surprised how many of the iconic scenes were right up front. And there are some at the end that have reached pop culture, you know, some that are towards the end that have reached pop culture. But just about all the ones that are super familiar
the ones that you know.
Yeah, the ones that I know and the ones that have become memes are pretty much all up front. They're within the first 3 stories or so, except for the gold watch. Like, I hid this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass. You know, which I didn't even know was from this movie, partially because, well, I didn't know that there were multiple stories in this movie with all different characters. So, you know, every time they introduced a new couple characters, a new story, I'd go, oh, these people. And of course, they introduce Bruce Willis as a boxer, and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's Bruce Willis. Like, I could have watched this movie blindfolded, and I would have known it was Bruce Willis as a boxer, not even because of his voice. It's just like, yeah, okay, they're looking for a certain kind of character, a certain kind of person to play a certain kind of character.
Bruce Willis always fits the role of a boxer.
That fit the bill. And I honestly thought that...
What?
It's tough to say, but I think his story was the most interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, it was.
I mean, I think it went off the rails a little bit. I think his story was most interesting sort of up to the point where he runs into Marsellus Wallace. You know, at that point, or, you know, when they go into the pawn shop.
After the pawn shop scene, I was like, okay, never going to the pawn shop
this is
trying to fight somebody, because that might happen.
Yeah, that's every pawn shop, actually. That's actually mandated. You have to have a sex dungeon in a pawn shop. It's the law. In case someone switches the letters around and it says porn shop, you know. You know. It's because the words are close. It's why Cornhub exists. Never mind. I can't continue that thread of a joke any further. It was already tenuous and bad enough to begin with. What is your... You sort of agreed with me that the gold watch is the more interesting story here. I mean, he gets the least character development, though.
Who? Butch?
Yeah.
What do you mean he gets the least character development?
I feel like he gets the least character development of all these people.
Like, I mean...
He's given the opportunity to change the least. He just... Okay, you know what? That's true. He does go back for Marsellus Wallace.
He does go back for Marsellus Wallace.
Yeah. But that is still, you could say, almost completely self-serving, because you got to imagine that...
Either way, if he didn't go back for Marsellus Wallace, I feel like Marsellus Wallace would have gotten himself out of that situation and came looking for him.
Yeah, I mean, if Marsellus Wallace survived, or even if he didn't, his organization still exists. We don't know how big the criminal enterprise of Marsellus Wallace is, but we know that it's substantial enough to do all the stuff in his movie. You could argue that Bruce Willis going back for Marsellus Wallace is still purely self-serving.
Yeah, because he doesn't want Marsellus Wallace to come after him.
Yeah, and he gets to slice some people up with a sword, which is dope.
I also love how within the you don't see Marsellus Wallace's face throughout the first half of the movie.
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of crazy
I thought it was kind of cool and like ominous, like, oh, you don't know you know who the big bad is, but you don't know what he looks like, you know?
Yeah. I feel like it's even a stretch calling him the big bad, because it's not like he's really...
No, he's not
much of an antagonist.
No, but that's just the word that he's the crime boss.
Yeah.
Is the word I was looking for.
But you're not wrong. He is driving a lot of the, he's driving the bad stuff in the narrative. He's driving, pretty much all of the death and the violence.
Yeah.
but it's not like he is someone to be taken on and conquered.
No.
You know, he's not treated that way by the plot.
No, he's not.
But I was kind of stunned when they humanized him. You know, when they took him from a guy you just see the back of his head to Bruce Willis is going to hit him with his car. And beyond that, the fact that he was just out getting coffee.
And donuts.
Yeah, and just like chilling, going back to the apartment. You know, he was probably waiting there.
He was probably
waiting there with John Travolta and just went and got
food, like snacks.
Coffee and donuts,
but
and
he
came back.
only had one cup of coffee.
Well, maybe John Travolta didn't want coffee.
I don't know.
Maybe he doesn't get other people coffee, he just gets himself coffee, which would be kind of on brand, don't you think? So, you know, I don't know. It just strikes me as this is the thing where Bruce Willis goes by his apartment again, dumb, then
to
runs
get the
in,
watch.
then no, like the second, like drives by it again after getting the watch.
Oh, what? After he kills Travolta?
Yeah, after he kills Travolta, and then he goes and does like a victory lap around the block, it looks like, and then literally runs into Marsellus Wallace. And again, I'm just like, why is this man out getting coffee? Why is he just out on the street? Like, he's been pampered, right? You keep putting your arm directly in front of the microphone, baby. He's been, like, pampered the whole movie. He's been in an office, like, every time we've seen him, aside from being...
No, he was in a club when we first met Marsellus Wallace. Not an office. He was in a club.
When did we first meet him? I thought we first met him when...
The club. So after they go to Brett's apartment, and they show up in the different clothing.
Yeah.
They meet him in a club, not an office.
Oh, okay, because he's talking to Bruce Willis there. I thought that was his office.
No, it's probably a club that he owns.
Okay, but then he's in, like, his place, though.
Yeah,
if he owns it, it's still his place. What I'm saying is, it doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that would just be out and about. And I'm not saying that's a plot hole, because it's not. But it just...
I mean, maybe he just likes doing stuff for himself.
I mean, yeah. It just doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who does. But, I mean, I suppose you don't get to be a crime boss by, not doing stuff yourself, right?
Exactly. What do you know? Are you a crime boss?
Let's talk about the mobster. Let's talk about the honest-to-God mobster that shows up halfway through this movie, who's just walked out of the day of his daughter's wedding into this movie. Like...
What's his name was Winston Wolfe.
Winston Wolfe. What a freaking baller.
Right there.
What a the best character in this movie.
A cleaner, quote-unquote.
Yeah. Yeah, so... And I like how he's just pulling people from Reservoir Dogs, which also I need to see. But... He just strikes me as, like... He's in here and he's doing, like, the most basic of jobs, which is a cleaner. Like, basic by that, I mean, like, bottom of the totem pole feeling. But it's not. He's not. He's, like... He's a honcho. He's a real important person.
Mm-hmm. And I love how after the cleaning, the Bonnie situation scene, he just picks up the daughter of the guy who owned the junkyard and was like, we're going to go out for breakfast. I'm going to show you what a real man looks like. And I'm like...
Also, like, all of this movie happens in the morning. Almost all this movie, except for the end of the boxing fight, happens in the morning.
No. The diner scene.
Diner scene is in the morning.
No, it's not. Yeah,
it is.
No, it's not.
It is, because you go there from the junkyard, and they left What's-His-Face's house before 9:30. The diner's in the morning. That's why they went to a diner.
No,
the diner. Oh, the 50s diner. The 50s diner.
The 50s
yeah,
restaurant that he took
Marsellus
Wallace's
that's fair.
wife.
That sequence is at night. That one I overlooked.
Because I remember freaking... The wife was in bed. It was 1:30 in the morning.
It's the morning.
Oh my god.
It's in the morning.
I'm going to hit you.
What? How am I wrong?
I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to hurt you.
I was going to concede that point, and then you pointed out that it was still in the morning.
It's still dark out.
That's the morning. After midnight is morning.
I don't care.
What do you call that?
I don't care.
I'm just saying it's an interesting choice for a large majority of the plot of this movie to happen in the morning. And I don't even mean the parts that are at night. I mean, there are two major sections that are at night. Bruce Willis leaving after murdering a guy by accident, and the diner scene and the fallout from that. Sort of the entirety of what's it? Yeah, the entirety of Mia Wallace, right?
Yes.
Vincent Vega and Mia Wallace. That mostly takes place at night, and it goes into the morning, yeah, but that isn't what I was talking about. It's just an interesting choice, which is sort of what I'm getting from a Tarantino film in general.
Isn't this your first Tarantino film?
No.
Or have you seen other Tarantino films?
You showed me.
Oh, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
There you go. And it's probably not the only one that I've seen.
Have you seen Django Unchained?
No.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. It's just, these are out of my wheelhouse, and they're not out of my wheelhouse because I don't like them. They're out of my wheelhouse just because, I don't know, I'm not the target audience or something. I don't know. I just have never felt the drive to see one of these movies. And when we watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it, gets kind of bloody and crazy and stuff, I was just like, okay, this is a little bit much. Which doesn't make it bad. But this movie was less of that. Mm-hmm. And it felt like this movie was more interesting to me than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I feel like you were more intrigued with this movie because it was 3 separate stories.
Yeah, and because Tarantino has a way of telling a story.
Oh yeah, Tarantino can tell a story like nobody's business.
But he spends so much of this movie on stuff that's kind of ancillary.
I like how he also acted in his own movie.
That's true. Who was he?
He was Jimmy.
He was Jimmy, okay.
The guy from The Bonnie Situation.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The husband.
Yeah. I had never seen what he looks like before.
I even pointed him out and was like, oh, there he is.
Oh, you said, oh, there he is. I didn't know you were talking about it.
Because when it said that he was in the cast, I was like, oh. Because I haven't seen this movie in, forever. The last time I saw this movie, I had to have been, 15 or so. Mm-hmm. And so, when I saw that he was in the cast, I completely forgot he was in this movie. All I knew was that he directed it.
Yeah.
And, when I saw that he was in the cast list, I was like, oh, I wonder where he is. And then we got to the Bonnie Situation, and I was like, oh, there he is.
Yep.
Young Tarantino.
Bonnie Situation totally blindsided me. Like, the rest of the stuff in this movie and the way it goes together and, the plots that happen were just like, okay, yeah, this is pretty standard fare for, a mobster movie, but not a mobster movie, like a crime movie.
After, during the Gold Watch, the present of the Gold Watch, after, Marsellus and Butch part ways and he goes to get his girlfriend and they leave, you're like, oh, why didn't the movie end there?
Yeah, you clicked the timer because, you had to go to the bathroom or something.
No, I was checking it.
Oh, you just had to check it. And I went, I can't believe there's more movie after this. I can't believe...
That movie was 2 hours and 45 minutes long.
Oh my god, it was!
Because we started watching it at, 8 o'clock?
And that's why I called it 3 movies. That's why I was like, I can't believe there's more movie after those 2 movies that we just watched.
What was your favorite story? Or snippet?
I mean, probably the first part of...
The flashback to the Gold Watch?
No, not the flashback. No. Actually, it's probably just... It's tough to pinpoint it. Because I like the Gold Watch. I like... The Gold Watch is both a high point and a low point for me. Mm-hmm. The stuff in that story is both the best and the worst to me. And I don't even mean the best and the worst, just my favorite and my least favorite.
I feel like, not to say I don't like, I mean, I love this movie. This movie's great. I love the Gold Watch scene, but I also hate it at the same time.
Like the explanation or what? Which scene?
The flashback.
Okay, yeah.
He was like, I had this watch up my ass for how many years, he said? 2 years?
Something like that. I don't remember.
He was like, I had this hunk of metal up my ass for 2 years. And I'm like, why are you telling this to a child?
Yeah, no,
who just found out his dad is dead?
He didn't just find it out.
No?
No, there's no way. There's no way he just found it out, but it is the first time he meets,
It also felt like
Captain Coons.
I also felt like Christopher Walken or Captain Coons was Butch's father's gay lover, the way he was talking about him.
I guess. I guess. I mean, I can't. Oh, it was Vietnam War. I can't say in either direction there, but I suppose so.
I mean, that's just the vibe I got. I mean,
But what the hell was I saying? I was trying to say something about something. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about what like
excuse me.
the philosophical discussions. I think they're pad to this movie. They make it longer, but I think in some ways they are the best parts of this movie. Just like the running conversations that that Samuel Jackson
Vincent
and John
have.
Travolta have during the course of this movie.
Or they're just great. It's just back and forth banter, and I mean,
It is seamless banter. That's the part that makes it so stellar.
I also wanted to talk about the restaurant, Jack Rabbit Slim's. I love Jack Rabbit Slim's. I think that restaurant is awesome.
It's cool.
I love the car booths. I love the giant stage where it looks like a giant clock. I love the people dressed up like famous people.
Yeah.
You know, like real, like 1950s realistic, diner,
It is. I mean, it's not realistic by any
I
stretch.
mean, it's not
just
really
like
realistic, but it's like realistic enough.
it's no, it's a caricature, is what it is.
I mean,
It is. It's taking. It's a theme. It's sort of like Disney World is to a castle. It's taking that idea and just running with it as far as you can. And I mean, the castle of Disney World, but just like stylizing it to the point where it's wrung out entirely for entertainment value. Like, I can't. What are you looking at?
Samuel Jackson's middle name is Leroy.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I was just sitting here looking at it, and I was like, wait a minute.
But yeah, that's which I think sort of puts the A story of Jackson and Travolta getting the briefcase and delivering the briefcase.
Yeah,
sort of. I think that puts it up over the others.
I want to talk about two things.
Go ahead.
I want to talk about how in the beginning of the movie they had the definition for pulp.
Yes.
And then the briefcase. How we never knew what was inside the briefcase.
Which is fun.
Which is great because it keeps you on edge. You always wanting to know what's inside the briefcase.
Yeah. And the answer? There's nothing in the briefcase. It was
supposed to be it was supposed to be diamonds. From what I read up above, it was supposed to be diamonds.
Yeah, well that was the first idea, and then they figured that was too mundane, so they just put a light in it. They just put a light in the briefcase so that when you opened it, it would glow. And it's like, it is designed to be a MacGuffin. It is designed to be a thing that it doesn't actually matter what it is. Just this object is important to the plot. It's a briefcase with stuff in it that people want. That's
a briefcase with something in it that everybody needs.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of gold.
It glows.
It glows like it should be gold.
But like, yeah, no, it's not supposed to be anything, which is part of the reason it's so fun. And part of the reason, once again, we're back to Quentin Tarantino just sort of playing with movies as a concept.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, yes, this is a trope and we're going to use it.
Can I just say, I love Uma Thurman with a black short bob. I think it looks so good on her and it shapes her face so well. Yeah.
There's a reason she's on the movie cover. Or on the movie poster.
I also like how the poster looks like an old, wanted poster. Or
no, it's supposed to be like a magazine, like a Pulp magazine.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
And then, what was I going to say? I love how they come back to the diner where, in the end of the movie, where they're doing the Mexican standoff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Jules talking to Ringo and freaking Honey Bunny. Honey Bunny is standing up there and she's like, "Don't you shoot him! Don't you shoot him!"
That is a hell of a scene. It's a great climax. And
I think it's a great boomerang because it brings you back to where it started.
Well, yeah, of course. You have a prologue and an epilogue that happen in the same place at the same time, and that's how it employs. That's how it creates this circular narrative. But it's also, it gives the opportunity for Samuel L. Jackson's character to have this development. This like he's the person that changes the most over the course of the film. And that isn't to say these people change very much.
I mean, Travolta dies at some point in this movie.
I mean, yeah, he changes from alive to dead, but that's,
And then I like how they go back to Brett's apartment and they have this guy hiding in the bathroom. And he comes out and he fires his whole barrel of bullets and misses Travolta and Jackson. And Samuel L. Jackson called it
it was an act of God. He called it an act of God.
But no, what was the word? It was something
it was divine intervention. He called it divine intervention.
A divine intervention. That's what he called it.
Which
Travolta did not believe, and he was like, "Listen, I'm just saying it's luck. I'm not saying it's anything. I'm just saying it's luck. It's
freak occurrence," or whatever he calls
it. Jules is like, "Well, I'm gonna quit the business because this has made me see the light." Or he already saw the light, and it's just like he's like done now. Because he recites Ezekiel 25:17, was it?
It was, I don't know. It's down here somewhere.
Ezekiel.
He has his quote. He has his long Bible quote that he says before he murders people. And I do think it's nice how that comes around. And I think it's nice how he comes around. Did I go past it? I went past it.
No, you didn't.
No, it's way down here.
It's Ezekiel. Oh, I was right. 25:17.
There you go. Heard 3 times, and I was wondering why they went for it the second time, but
what you mean in the diner?
No, the second time when it just repeats the scene from Brett's apartment. They didn't have to keep in all of that. Yeah.
I mean.
But this movie is long and meandering, but it's not worse for it.
I love how much is packed into this movie with the whole 2 hours, though.
I mean, I like how much is here. There's a lot of story going on, but that's the thing. Is it's a lot of movie.
It is a lot of movie, but I feel like with a lot of movie you can do a lot.
No.
And especially if their budget was only $8 to $8.5 million.
Most of that on characters. Most of that on
and
people.
They made almost.
They made $205 million more than that.
Exactly. So, what's your star rating for this one, baby?
I think I'm gonna give it a solid 4.
I'm giving it a 5.
I know you're gonna give it a 5, and it deserves more than my 4. It's just, it's not. I'm giving it a 4 because it's a damn good movie, not because I like it, because it's a really, really good and well executed movie.
Because it's a very well put together movie. Quentin Tarantino will always be my second best director underneath Tim Burton, of course. And I think this movie was amazing.
Yeah, it definitely deserves all the critical acclaim that it's gotten.
I know it doesn't have enough doors for you, but I mean...
It doesn't have enough door handle shots. Yeah, that's true.
Plenty of bathrooms, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, in bathrooms, they've got lots of doors in them. So, But...
Oh, excuse me.
Wow.
What are we watching next?
I don't know yet. Something came to me while we were watching this movie, and I went, oh, I want to watch that next. No idea what that was. Haven't got a single clue what that was. It was something similar-ish.
Was it Reservoir Dogs?
No, it was not. Is that even on the list?
It should be.
I didn't put it on there, so it would have had to be you. No, it's not. Would you like to put that on the list?
I mean, you can put it on the list. It's your choice.
No, it's not. It's yours.
Oh, it's mine?
Yeah, it's...
Well, then go a space down and put it as yours.
But I'm not the one adding it to the list. I'm asking if you want to.
No.
Okay, then. Have you seen?
No.
No, I haven't either. So
that's your put it on the list for you.
But I don't have a desire to watch it.
Okay, then we're not gonna watch it.
You're the one who thought that it was gonna be my pick next. Like, okay.
Whatever.
This is the dumbest. Okay, it's not the dumbest. We've had dumber things. Remember None Pizza Left Beef?
Yeah, from Caddyshack, from our episode of Caddyshack.
Well,
you need to figure out what we're watching next.
I do need to figure out what we're watching next, but there are other things that I wanted to... Well, we already stretched this one out, and we did star ratings in the last, 30 seconds. I want to say that what I'm trying to say is, I'm calling it a lot of movie, because it's long, but that doesn't make it bad. I'm not criticizing its length. I'm saying that there's a lot of movie here, but it is a continuous... it keeps you going.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you sort of get to, okay, maybe I've had enough of these characters, they switch you over to something else. And by the end of it, they've told these stories, and it's a solid sit down and watch it. I mean, you're gonna be paying attention for the whole thing.
I think this movie has a good amount of action right from the start. I think it upholds the right amount of action right until the end. And I was actually just reading that it was nominated for 67 for... No, it wasn't...
No,
sorry.
No.
Sorry.
At the 67th Academy Awards, it was nominated for 7.
For 7.
67 awards.
Sorry.
It's okay, it would have deserved it. Anyway,
make sure...
If you've seen Pulp Fiction, or if you've seen all the memes, at least, you can, feel free to say something down in the comments about it, or our analysis, which is a very loose sort of analysis. There's no structure to the show. We just sit here and lab for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But
that's just what we do.
Yep, we have been slowly picking up subscribers. Appreciate that. If you like this and you want to see more of it, or if you didn't like this but you would like to see us review some other movies, there are plenty more on this list.
Oh yeah, it's over. How many movies is it?
It's like 150 movies. It's a lot of movies.
139. 39.
Well, 138. Because there's a row for the title up here, or for the whatever. It's a lot of movies. We're gonna be doing this for a while. So if you want to see that, subscribe. Thanks.
Bye guys.
Let's go watch a movie. Bye bye.
You need to pick a movie.
Let's go watch a movie.
Okay, pick a movie.
Let's go watch a movie.